Welcome to Talk TV. A lot of people in Nevada have problems with their mortgages. That's no mystery to any of us. Nevada ranks #1 in foreclosures, and we don't seem to be getting a lot of help from the banks on that. Everybody I talk to says that they attempt to get something done. There's no help to be had. Our guest today is Cheryl. She's a local homeowner here in Pahrump. She's had problems in dealing with the banks, thinking that she can go in, get some mediation, or get something worked out to where it's going to help her, help the bank, and help everybody. But what she's finding out is that they really don't want to work with her. So with no further ado, let's hear from Cheryl. Cheryl, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm fine, and glad that you would have me on the show to discuss this very important situation that's affecting many of us.
What has been the path that you've had to go down trying to get some relief with your mortgage?
Well, I'm not sure how to go about this other than maybe to start at the beginning.
That's the best place.
Okay. I've pretty much exhausted every avenue that's available. But my brother and I actually purchased an older mobile home on an acre and a quarter in Pahrump somewhere 10 or 11 years ago. And we purchased it from my mother at the time, who was struggling financially. She was having a hard time making the payments. My father had passed away. At the time, she only owed about $40,000 on the house, a mobile home, and we purchased it for an amazing $122,000 at the time, which was outrageously priced. But at the time, it worked out for her because we wanted to get as much money for her as we could.
And that was the market value at that time.
That was, yes, that's when the property values in the whole country, and particularly in Pahrump, I think, were just going crazy, high property values at that time.
Mm-hmm. So you and your brother are going to help your mother out and buy the house from her and
yes,
get her some money.
That's how that happened. So
Okay.
she would have extra money in the bank to pay her bills.
Okay.
And anyway, about 6 years ago or somewhere in that area, I retired and moved to Pahrump. I was living with a friend of mine and had moved to Pahrump to help my mother again. She was sick with COPD, and at some point she passed away, and then my brother and I then became fully responsible for paying for the house. On my retirement, it was a little difficult for me to withstand paying for everything. But I tried. At first, I tried renting the house out to people and found I had a lot of problems with that because I had people move in that, for whatever reasons, didn't make the payments. So that didn't work out very well. In fact, it hurt financially. But I guess to get to the point of where we decided to get help from the bank, I was behind in payments, and my brother had tried making payments, double payments, pay my half and his half. But he also owned several pieces of property and always had actually done very well with buying and selling houses. So he owned 3 or 4 houses at that time, and it became a burden on him in his own right, just for his own houses, and then making double payments on the house I was now living in, because I couldn't live one place and then take care of my mom's house at the same time. So I had moved into my mom's house, which now, of course, it was my house.
Right.
And so we started to go through the mediation process at that time. Hopefully, we were going to be able to get the banks to drop the principal, but we were willing to accept any kind of help that we could at that time.
And the market value of the house had just dropped incredibly. Just
Yes,
like everybody
that's-
else in Nevada, everybody else in the United States.
That's the main point. Even at that time and even now, here, many years after my mother's passed away, the property value on the place I'm living in now, oh my goodness, I don't think you could even sell it for $20,000.
And the outstanding balance is like $100,000.
The outstanding balance is at at 90,000. However, at this point, we also owe several $1,000s in penalties and interest and such like that too, for having quit making the payments.
Now, when you go through this process of trying to get some help on, you're really underwater, you want to get something done to where it's affordable and you don't want to go into foreclosure, do you go see an attorney first, a real estate agent, a bank, the one who has the mortgage on your house? What was the first step?
Well, my brother and I had quit making the payments because my understanding was the banks wouldn't work with us at all unless we were behind on the payments. And at that time, then, of course, they start sending a lot of paperwork telling us that we need to make the payments. And at some point, they start sending out paperwork that says you can apply for going through the mediation process. So I believe I paid $200 and filled out an enormous amount of forms to do that. And then finally, we got our day at mediation.
Now, at this point, are you represented by an attorney or you're just working directly with your lender?
Well, we asked if we needed an attorney, and basically the bank and the mediation process all said we could have an attorney with us, but it really wasn't necessary. Okay. At this point, I think maybe it was necessary, but we were told no, we didn't need an attorney.
So when you go there, are you the one who says, we would like it if you would do this, that, and the other for us? Or do you just go in and say, we're way underwater, we don't even need this house, however, we'll keep it and we'll pay on it if you give us some help, what can you do? Or do they start it? Do they dictate to you what you're going to get or what they're going to do for you? How's that work?
Well, when we went into the mediation meeting, which was a mystery to me, I had no clue, nor did my brother, as to what was going to happen when we got into the meeting. But what it turned out to be was that there was a representative, an attorney for the bank who has financed our house, and then the mediator, who is supposedly impartial. And then my brother and I were there. We were told we couldn't have any kind of recording devices. In fact, we had to turn our phones off and put them on the middle of the table. It's very secretive, everything that gets said in those meetings, I guess. But to get to the bottom point of what happened at the mediation is that we were denied any kind of help. My brother makes more money than I. He lives in California, and I make hardly any money at all on my retirement. And so the bottom line was that my brother made too much money to qualify for any of the programs that were available at that time, and I didn't make enough. Even if we were to be able to put the house only in my name, it didn't matter. They said I didn't qualify a loan because I don't make enough money to qualify for any of the programs they had either.
What was their attitude? Did they really seem like they wanted to help, or they just basically wanted to entertain you for a little while and then be done with you and say, all right, you don't qualify, goodbye?
Yeah, I did not feel that they were there to help us, basically just to, like you said, just, let us go through the process and then be denied. However, my brother and I even offered to continue to pay for the house as it had been before, without any kind of reduction in principal or interest, only if they would forgive any of the outstanding balances that were owed to unpaid principal, and then penalties and interest, stuff like that. And they wouldn't do that either. So that made me think that they didn't really want to offer us any kind of help at all. In fact, at one point, the attorney even said something to the effect of, well, I don't know why you even want to keep that house. It's not worth anything. It's not worth the $90,000 that we owed on it. which at that point I just broke into tears and said it was sentimental because that was
Right.
my mom and dad's house.
Right. But just from a common sense standpoint also, if it goes into foreclosure and goes on the market, and the market says that that house has no value, why would they not want to work something out with you at a little bit more than that than just let it go in a fire sale for next to nothing, right?
Well, I think that's the $1 million question right there. Obviously, the banks have their own agenda, and I couldn't tell you what their agenda is other than speculation. I assume that they have a way out of these foreclosures, that they make more money than actually working with the people who are trying to stay in their homes.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back after just a couple minutes. So hang on just a few minutes, folks. And also, if you out there are having the same type of problems and frustrations with your lender on your home, or you know someone who has, I would like to hear from you. But first, let's go to a break.
I was so upset after my car crash, I didn't know what to do. I was referred to Affiliated Chiropractic and Affiliated Physical Therapy. They coordinated my insurance agent, recommended a good attorney, and they even knew a good body shop. From my police report to my complete rehabilitation, it was like having a car accident expert at my side.
Whether your pain is from a recent accident or just something you've been suffering with for years,
our full-service clinic can help you live pain-free again.
Who can make sense of the real estate market in today's economy? How can the market benefit you? Call Kathy Slaughterback to the rescue and her partner, Ray Gwynn. They have a whole team of experts at All Star Real Estate. From short sales and foreclosures to residential and commercial properties, they even recommend a great mortgage specialist. It's a total package at All Star Real Estate. Questions answered, problems solved, and investments possible. Call 727-1354.
Welcome back. So let's hear some more from our guest today, Cheryl, who's frustrated over the whole situation of foreclosure and trying to work something out with her lender. Okay, Cheryl, take it away. We left off with you went to mediation and you didn't really have any kind of assistance there. So where are we at now?
Well, they did offer one solution, which entailed us not being able to keep the house. They suggested we put it up for sale as a short sale. So my brother and I did find a real estate agent who was even willing to do a short sale. And during that time that the house was up for sale, or a certain time during I don't remember, it was 3 or 4 months that the bank agreed not to kick us out of the house while it was up for short sale. Mm-hmm. We did not find anyone to buy the house. I think it was up for sale for about a year, and the real estate agent basically quit. But I did want to say one more thing about the mediation process.
Sure, go ahead.
Which technically it was right after the mediation meeting, and the mediator was out the door, and the attorney for the bank took me aside and whispered in my ear, "Wouldn't it be too bad if your house burned down?"
Wow.
I was in total shock.
Wow.
To hear that kind of suggestion. And I was really irate because I had a family member who had unfortunately just had a disaster. Their whole house burned down and everything in it, and even some of the animals had died, and it was a horrific, terrible thing to happen. And I let that attorney know I really was not happy about that particular offhanded suggestion.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. So the mediation did not go well. The end of the mediation, they suggest, wouldn't it be a shame if it burns down?
Well, yeah.
You put it up for short sale. It's up for sale for a year. The realtor just up and quits on you, and you would still like to get something worked out. So let's fast forward, and what happens after the short sale doesn't happen? Do you get any more advice or anything from anybody?
Well, coincidentally, there was another offer come to the attention of my brother and I, that the bank was willing to let us prove that we could make the payments. So they had some sort of program that if we made the payments for 3 months, that they would consider allowing us to keep the loan and to be able to keep the house.
They would
So-
redo the mortgage?
Yes, they would redo it. But the letter itself was very ambiguous. I tried to call to the bank or to the bank's attorneys, everywhere that I could think to call to try to find the bottom line. What do we actually owe if we do go on this program? Because we were
They didn't
seriously...
give you the terms. They didn't say
No,
how
they
much you would
they
be financing
refused.
or at what rate
No.
or anything.
No, they refused to give us the terms. I called, I don't know, over and over and over. And one the attorney would say, "Well, we don't have those figures. You have to call the bank." I'd call the bank, and they'd say, "No, you have to call another person." That person say, "You have to call another person." I just went back and forth with this for about 2 weeks. And my brother finally got frustrated with it too and said, "Just forget it. We're not even going to go that route if they can't supply us with the bottom figure of what we're going to owe."
Okay. So mediation,
So that didn't work.
short sale, and the bank saying that they would work something out and they wouldn't even give you any figures on it.
Nope.
So there's three things that have just gone by the wayside.
No.
Still, any other avenues of help or things that could be tried out?
Well, I personally hired an attorney. I went to an attorney for a consultation to see if there's still any help for me. Can I still possibly find a way to keep the house? And even the attorney suggested I file bankruptcy and get out of the house.
Okay.
So again,
And did he base
there's
that upon how much you owe and what the market
yes,
value was? He
yes,
just said, "Look,
totally. Yes, because we owe so much more on it than the property's worth.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but if you do have a house up for sale as a short sale, no one related to you can buy that house.
And you had a relative?
I had a relative who was willing to buy it, and then let me rent from them.
Right.
And of course, the bank won't allow a close relative to buy your house on a short sale.
And they should, because that price
Well,
would have been higher than what we all
yes.
know they're eventually going to get when they put that thing up for auction, right?
Right.
Okay.
And February 2nd, I got a notice prior to February 2nd of this year that said my house was going to go up for auction. But even before that, my brother had finally just thrown his hands up in the air and decided to file bankruptcy. So he was actually in the process. He'd already started with an attorney and filling out papers to file bankruptcy before that happened. So as it stands right now, my brother and I have no other way to go than to file bankruptcy.
Okay. So you've run the string out.
I don't
You've
know what
heard-
else to do.
You've heard all the false promises. You've seen all the ads on TV. And when you go and you check them out, there's just nothing there.
Right.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck in that, Cheryl. And do keep us updated for what happens in the future if maybe somebody from the bank or one of those lawyers or real estate agents should see this and wants to help you out. Because it just sounds like it's really silly that they'd rather take a big loss than work something out and help you stay in your home. Okay, that's all we have for you today, folks. Again, if you have anything along these lines that would apply to you too, let me find my email and we'll throw it up there for you. There he is, oh, it's way up there. Hang on just 1 second, going through my, there it is. Let's pull it up there. Yeah, if you have anything along these lines where you've tried to work with the bank, an attorney, a real estate agent, or even tried to do it yourself through a private sale and work something out and you always get just boom, up against a brick wall, let us know about that, because we know that here in Nevada this is a widespread problem, has been for about 5 years, and could be for a lot longer. We'd like to know if there are solutions out there also. If anybody has found out that there is a way to get this done, let us know that also. Anyway, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again.